morning, lovelies. In the garden, let's talk about it. Jesus. Coffee, yummy. So today being Thursday, this is a day that Jesus is in the garden. He goes to the garden and he goes and prays, and a lot happens in the garden. To me, the most important decision ever made in mankind was made in the garden. Good morning, Felipe. And you're going to hear that decision, and you're going to hear that action that happened in the garden. But I want to go through that. I want to go through what happens in the garden, and we're going to use the passage out of Mark. So I'm going to go through Mark 14, starting in verse 32, and I'm going to run all the way through to 51. So kind of a long passage, but so Jesus goes to the Garden of Gethsemane with his disciples. So I'm going to pick up here, and so then they came to a place which was named Gethsemane, and he said to his disciples, "Sit here while I pray." So he's telling his disciples, I'm going to go pray. Sit here, and let's see what he does. He took Peter, James, and John with him, and he began to be troubled and deeply distressed. Then he said to him, "My soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even to death. Stay here and watch." He went a little further and fell on the ground and prayed that if it were possible, the hour might pass from him. So Jesus in this moment is showing his humanity. Look, I don't really want to go to the cross. I don't really want to go to the cross. I don't really want to take this beating that I'm about to take. He's showing his humanity. And this is all the other religions out there. We have a Savior that wrapped himself in flesh and took a beating and showed and went through everything we went through. He's truly compassionate to everything we feel. When we're about to go through something really bad, we get anxious and we get sorrowful and we get upset. Jesus is exhibiting the same things. He's experiencing the same things. This is why we have a Savior who knows us. He has a heart that knows us. And he said, "Abba, Father, all things are possible for you. Take this cup away from me. Nevertheless, not what I will, but what you will." The greatest decision ever made in humankind was made right there, where he submitted his will to the Father and said, "Not my will be done, but yours." A complete heart of surrender. It's not what I want to do, Dad. It's what you want me to do. Completely surrendered to the Father right there. Then he came and found them sleeping and said to Peter, "Simon, are you sleeping? Could you not watch 1 hour? Watch and pray, lest you enter into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak." Morning, my mermaid. Again he went away and prayed, and he spoke the same words. And when he returned, he found them asleep again. For their eyes were heavy, and they did not know what to answer him. So Jesus is like, pray for an hour. I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to spend time with Dad. Do the same thing. And what are they doing? They can't even watch. They're falling asleep. Then he came the third time and said to them, "Are you still sleeping and resting? It is enough. The hour has come. Behold, the Son of Man is being betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us be going. See, my betrayer is at hand. And here comes Judas. Immediately, while he was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, with great multitude with swords and clubs, came from the chief priests and the scribes and the elders. Now his betrayer had given them a signal, saying, "Whomever I kiss, he is the one. Seize him and lead him away safely." As soon as he had to come, immediately he went up to him and said to him, "Rabbi, Rabbi," and kissed him. Then they laid their hands on him and took him. And one of those who stood by drew his sword and struck the servant of the high priest and cut off his ear. Peter did that, and the gentleman's name is Malchus, that he cut off the ear of. Jesus answered and said to him, "Have you come out against me as against a robber with swords and clubs to take me?" Like, really? Like, I haven't done anything for you to warrant this kind of violence. I was daily with you in the temple teaching, and you did not seize me, but the scriptures must be fulfilled. Then they all forsook him and fled, meaning his disciples. All said, "We're out of here, bye." Jesus was arrested. So, in another passage, I believe it's actually in John, John goes into, Jesus actually as Judas comes up, says friend, calls him friend, but he's betrayed with a kiss. So many analogies I can think of in my head, but none of them are appropriate, so I'm not going to. Judas sells his soul for 30 pieces of silver, because what he did was what needed to be done. Jesus needed to be arrested so that he could be gone through a trial, which certainly wasn't a fair trial. They had on their minds that he was guilty, and they were going to make him guilty. And then we'll go over tomorrow the release of Barabbas. We'll go over that a little bit deeper. Jesus was offered up to the Israelites, to the Jews. Do we release this man Barabbas, or do we release Jesus? People called for Barabbas. We'll go over that tomorrow. So, in the garden, let's kind of wrap that. So Jesus in the garden went and prayed, right? Went and prayed the most important prayer ever in humankind. Yet not my will be done, but your will. That's a heart posture that we need to have. We need to have a heart posture of submission to the Father. And before this, he actually had been at the final supper, where he washed his servants' feet and completely went against the culture. In the culture, somebody of higher rank never washed somebody with inferior rank's feet. Yet Jesus did. And he goes on to say that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet. You should wash each other's feet. Showing that we should take a heart posture of submission. We should take a heart posture of servitude with everybody. It doesn't matter. Those in the kingdom, Those who are first will be last, and those who are last will be first. There's no rank in the kingdom. It's exactly what Jesus is showing there. There's no rank in the kingdom of heaven. Good morning, 6. So why do we have rank here? Why do we rank ourselves and think we're better than others? We should model what Jesus modeled for us. We should display what Jesus modeled for us. That's a heart of submission and a heart of servitude. Submit our will to the Father and give it all to Him. And then serve each other. You know, last night I was given the beautiful opportunity to go and chaperone for, it's something called the Brave Summit, which is awesome. All about mental health and positivity, and awesome to watch. All these high school kids running around, and yeah. Just awesome to be there, and that was a gift from God to be there. So, anyway, long and short of it, our heart posture should be a heart posture of submission to the Lord as He submitted for us, and it should be of servitude towards each other and loving each other. So, I love you guys. I know He loves you like crazy. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll talk about Barabbas. Tomorrow being Good Friday, so tomorrow's the day He went to the cross. But I want to talk about the events leading up to the cross. So we'll be back tomorrow with whatever Dad wants to talk about. I love you guys. You guys have an awesome day.